Hi, this is Kim with www.embody-light.com. Today's video is about the heart chakra. I'm going to title this The Heart of the Matter. And to start off, um, first, I want to just ask you if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and to hit the like button. I offer sessions. There's several at my website, www.embody-light.com. I do hypnotherapy, psychic readings, healing, Akashic records work, past life regressions, all kinds of things. Quantum energy healing is my main thing. So today we're going to talk about the heart. The heart is our gateway between the spiritual world and the physical world. And so, to the degree that your heart is open, you will get insight from your upper chakras, which are connected to your spiritual centers, your crown, your third eye, your throat, higher heart. To the degree that your heart is open, those insights will come through and they match to the corresponding one in our physical body to the number 8 and work together. So, the heart is the gateway between the physical world and the spiritual world. And it's the astral realm. I want to talk about that for a little bit. The astral realm can be a bit messy. That when somebody crosses over, they go into the astral realm in the beginning and they ascend from there. Well, if some people stay in the astral realm if they don't want to move on because of fear, greed, all kinds of reasons that would hold them to the earth. It's not always for a nefarious reason, though. Sometimes you'll have like parents that have died that have children still in the world. They'll hang out in the astral realm and try to guide them. Or if there's unfinished business, that kind of thing. The problem is with that is that those individuals haven't healed and come into full understanding of what happened. And so they're really not in the position to help. I've heard of situations where, like, oh, there was a mother and a daughter. The daughter was young, and when the mother passed, and the mother carried depression. Well, the daughter carried a lot of depression within her as well because the mother was so close to her field. So, and when somebody does cross over, one of the things that I've noticed with people that I've known that have crossed, that have tried to communicate me, when they first cross, and it can be up to a couple months, I can still physically hear their voice. Somehow they are able to mimic that, even though they don't have a voice box. I don't know if it's through my memory or how it works. But in the beginning, I am very clearly able to hear them communicate with me. And it sounds like they're just right next to you. As they move on and they're less um, heavy and connected to the physical realm, they I don't hear that voice anymore. It comes more in thoughts. Sometimes I will hear a voice, but usually it's more in thoughts, images, knowings. But they do communicate, and it's a frequency that's higher. What it is somebody who's crossed over and ascended will lower their frequency into the fourth dimensional realm, and then the medium increases their frequency to fourth or fifth dimension, and that's how the communication takes place. So this area can be real distorted and messy. You have people, especially when they're just starting out on a spiritual journey and they think that channeling would be fun or cool to do, they'll start channeling. And what they're channeling is beings that haven't really crossed over. It can be people trying to trick you. They'll tell you they're famous people, they'll tell you you're a famous person. And it really takes the person trying to do that a lot of work where they increase their frequency and where they're healthy. Because if they're delusional at all in their thinking, um, the entities will play on that. So that those are the kinds of things that can happen in that middle realm. And so what we want to do is raise our consciousness to higher 4D and fifth dimensional and higher realities. So one of the things I'm going to talk about are some of the things, because what it is when we're born, we let our spirit flow and we're connected to source. But as things happen in our world, we start to cut off that flow. We start to lose that awareness. And so, some of the things I'm going to go through first, some of the things that how people keep their energy in a lower fourth dimensional or third dimensional frequency as opposed to what the ideology is with a higher frequency. So I'm going to go through that first, and I've got my list, so I'll be looking down. One of the things you're going to see in somebody who's thinking in a lower density frequency, or their energy is there, is that they seek love outside of themselves. These are the people who um, they don't feel complete unless they have a partner, or they're always looking. Nothing's ever good enough. Life will be good when they meet that partner. Life will be good when they get that different job or start their own business. Life will be good when they get that new car. Life will be good when. It's those kinds of things that you're not good enough, and life isn't good enough until that happens. Isn't that kind of unconditional love? It is. That's the other thing they will do: place conditions on love. When they love, who they love, how they love, they place conditions on it. Not ones that are beneficial, that they're going to attract a loving partner to them, nothing like that. But things like um, they'll only they'll more things like they love you until you disagree with them. That's one. Or they love you till they find out your political view. They love you until this, that kind of thing. They have a lack of gratitude. They hold on to unforgiveness, hold on to grudges, hold on to fear, hold on to trauma as a self defense mechanism, believe something unloving about themselves. That's what made them cut off this flow in the first time. Um, and they may give their power away constantly. They'll give their power away. As I was speaking of the other day, and then this would close off your heart, not close it off, but you would put a restriction there because you're not accepting the information that's coming to you, so you don't let that energy flow. But I spoke in one of my last videos about someone I knew with where they had wanted this certain purebred dog, and they were looking at the Humane Society, just happened to find one, and it was a really good fit. They got the animal, but that person thought it must have been their deceased parents that guided them to that, and that's giving their power away, because no, they did that themselves. Yes, you could have someone who's deceased watching over you, helping you, but mostly it's through you, and you have to recognize that. I'm going to tell you one I did back when I was first waking up. I used to like to do a lot of garage sailing, and I would always get, when there'd be something that I'd want or be thinking about, I would like it, I called it my twitch, and I knew I had to stop. Well, I would find the most unique things that were just bizarre that I was looking for, that were very strange. Well, I had a family member, an uncle who was deceased, who was a big antiquer and um, did that kind of thing, went to estate sales, that kind of thing. And so when I'd find something, I'm like, who's telling me that? Who's telling me to stop and look? Who is that? That must be my uncle. So that's what I did. I gave my power away. I thought it must be coming through another, and I didn't accept that I had that ability myself. And because I didn't believe in myself, that was like shutting the door. Okay, she doesn't want this communication. She's not ready for it. But it was actually me and my intuition who was helping me find those objects that I wanted. So, what else do we have here? Um, Places their spirituality outside of self through their church or through another, will seek validation on what they know from others also. and they have a need for growth. Nothing feels good enough. They also will distort and lock that energy down because they stay in a state of judgment. So now I'm going to tell you some of the things for the way your thinking is, your ideology is, so you can tell if you are in a higher 4D way of thinking or even fifth dimensional. So, first thing is you recognize that you are the source of love, not the seeker of it. You realize and you understand that those things called sin and guilt that are keeping people in lower density frequency are merely experiences that you chose in polarity so that you could make a choice. Also, they have a unity consciousness instead of a oneness consciousness. Let me clarify though. Our temporary reality here on this planet is more oneness, but the internal is more separation. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. But the internal reality is actually oneness. We are all one with Source. We are all of Source. Okay. They know that everything has a purpose. They love themselves first and love others as self. Does not place boundaries on love. Does not withhold love because of someone's behavior. I mean, if there's a behavior that you can't tolerate, abuse or something, obviously you get out of that situation. You still may love that individual as another human being who is very unconscious, but you don't place yourself in that because that is not being loving towards yourself. Has an understanding that these others who do these things are showing their ego and their trauma, and they're not affected by it. They're happy where they're at. They have a high vibe. People, places, persons, jobs, potentials just seem to find them and line up. It's not hard because they're going with the flow where the other is going against the flow. The growth that they experience now, the lower density, is a need for growth. They understand and they pull from within for their growth. So that's some of the ways you can tell. So now, as I spoke of earlier, our heart chakra is the gateway, and all of our chakras work together with the corresponding number of the chakra in our body, like our third eye works together with our sacral chakra. Your heart, that's number 4. So what is the match to number 4? 4. So there's several ways that that is accomplished. One of the ways is through making the connection with your twin flame. That is the other part of the connection. Now, we don't all know who our twin flames are, and some of us will not experience that in this lifetime. It used to be a really rare thing, and it's very common now. Or I shouldn't say very common, it's getting a lot more common. So that's one way. When you connect with your twin flame, your energy together, that is actually source energy. I've explained it as like you plug into an outlet, your power source. Well, when twin flames are together, that's the same as plugging into source. So that's one way. The other way is a balanced masculine and feminine energies, because to make that twin flame connection, whether you meet them in this lifetime or not, you need to have balanced masculine and feminine energies within yourself. So, because whether we have a twin flame relationship or our twin flame is deceased or living in another part of the world, or you've decided not to be together in this lifetime, or you're not ready for that kind of thing, you can still connect with your twin flame. And say your twin flame is going through something traumatic, Just by placing your hand on your heart, you can feel their energy and you can send them love. Now, if we do not have a relationship with the twin flame energy, we have relationships with other partners in our life. And it's about how do you manage that relationship? Is it an even giving and taking, balanced masculine, feminine energies? That will get that connection, that eighth, or, the 4 plus 4 chakra mirror math, eighth dimensional, um, as above, so below, connecting with source and bringing it into our reality, that will get that going. But the most important part is the balanced masculine, feminine energies within ourselves. So, the other thing about our chakras, I'm going to talk about how you can tell if you're out of balance in your masculine or your feminine energy. So, the front part of our bodies, I should start. First of all, our crown and our root, you got to imagine like a vortex, that starts with the narrow end and then it goes out. You've got one with a narrow end pointed in at your head and then it goes up and out. And then in the root, the narrow end is in towards your body and then it goes out. So those chakras are connecting to source and connecting to the earth. Our other chakras, we have a front aspect and a rear aspect. So our front aspect is our will, basically. Our rear aspect is our executive function. Now, the feminine aspect is more of the will, the intuition, that kind of thing. And the masculine aspect is more about the executive function. So, one of the things I would talk about is somebody who's business oriented. They'd be able, if they were balanced, they'd be able to take the necessary steps. Say they're trying to start a business, to get the intuition from source, what this business will be, how to do it, that kind of thing. They'll get that intuition, that insight, and they'll be able to carry it out and manifest it because they're open on the back of their chakra and they have executive function. But I'm going to give you some examples now of what you would see if someone was not able to do that. So if you had somebody who had more feminine energy and less masculine energy, let me tell you what you'd see. You might see someone who meditates and gets insight to do a service or manifest funds, just as I was speaking about. And then depending on how you manage that and how you'd get that insight, and somebody who's balanced in feminine energy, I'm sorry, this is a little choppy, decreased in masculine energy would get that insight, but they wouldn't have the confidence and the know-how and the energy to be able to bring that into fruition into the physical world. um there are several reasons that this could have happened. um they could be the males in their life showed a poor example, or they had a mother who didn't have good executive function. Um, you perceived your mother as being an underachiever, that kind of thing. That could make somebody go overboard in the feminine aspect. Um, so there's several ways the way your parents would have acted. Um, see back, I'm going to pause. Now, if you've got someone who's more masculine dominated and less feminine dominated, they'd be real rigid in their thinking, but they'd be able to take action. But their actions would be based in lower energy because they're denying their feminine ability. So they'd be less inclined to get the insight and intuition that they would need. Okay, so there, as I was speaking of earlier, and it got a little choppy, this is what you'd want to look at, those examples of how your parents interacted and managed their energies, or the people around you, and see how you're doing it. Are you denying your feminine energy? Are you denying your masculine energy? People will deny a part of themselves for so many different reasons. Like I spoke of earlier, they saw their mom as being an underachiever, so they deny their feminine energy and have a strong masculine energy. They see their father as being controlling, manipulative, that kind of thing. They may deny the masculine part and only resonate with the feminine part. So they'll set up managing their energy in this way. Where this is going to show most often is your relationships. Not just romantic relationships, but work relationships, friends, all kinds of relationships. How do you interact with others? What is the common theme? Do you have a common theme where, like, say, for instance, for me in my younger years, I always, and I would say this, and we're going to get into this when I do the throat chakra too, don't make vows, but I would always say things. I always attract guys that are this, that are that, and they were always negative things because that's what I was attracting because of the examples that I had growing up. And so that's how that would be a way for me to know. I didn't know it at the time, but that would be a way for me to know that there was a programming and a belief within myself. And the belief that I had within myself was that men were this way, and that's what I attracted to myself. So take a look at those relationships and how do you interact with others? Do you overextend yourself? Do you underextend yourself? When you find those patterns, you're going to be able to tell how you're blocking your energy, and then ask for the insight that you need. How was it that I started feeling and believing this way and bringing these things into fruition? A person now, like, say they have, I'll give you one example. They have a strong masculine energy, but denial of the feminine energy. And in business, they may be great in some aspects, but other aspects not so good, because they're denying that feminine, that intuitive, that soft nurturing piece. They may make bad investments. That would be one thing they could do because they're not listening to their gut, to their instinct. They are denying their feminine aspect of themselves. So, the next part I'll just talk about, and I'm going to make, following this, I'm going to make a heart expansion video, and that will help people a lot if you want to follow along with it. It'll be a meditation. I'll be using sound with it. The frequency that you want to use to open the heart chakra would be F. The heart chakra, the energy, the colors you would see would be either green or pink. So, wearing those colors also helps you to open your heart chakra. With that, have a lovely day. I love you all. And again, my website is www.embody-light.com. Have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.